Have you ever found yourself in such a desperate situation that you couldn't see a way out? What if in that dark moment a mysterious helper offered you a second chance? This is the story of Carla, a woman who lived an incredible experience where faith or perhaps an unknown force changed her life in an extraordinary way. Before we begin, if you love true stories that touch your heart and make you think, subscribe to our channel and activate the bell so you don't miss any new videos. Stay with us until the end because this story has a twist that will leave you speechless. Carla was a woman like many others. She lived in a small town in Tuscany. She worked as a cashier in a local supermarket and led a simple life. However, she had her share of difficulties. Her husband had left her a few years earlier, leaving her alone to raise two young children, Marco and Julia. The expenses were high and money was limited, but Carla had never given up. Every day, Carla would wake up at 5 a.m. to make breakfast for her children and make sure they were ready for school. Then she would rush to work, where she would spend long hours at the cash register, always with a smile for the customers, even when her heart was heavy with worries. She would come home tired in the evening, but she always found time to help the children with their homework and listen to their stories. Despite the difficulties, she tried to maintain a peaceful and loving environment for Marco and Julia. One evening, after a long day at work, Carla came home to a letter from the real estate agency. She had to leave the apartment within a month. Despair overwhelmed her. How would she find another place to live with her children? She began to pray, something she hadn't done in a long time. Her prayers were a mixture of hope and despair, but they were sincere. The next morning, while shopping for groceries before going to work, Carla met an elderly woman, Lena, who seemed to be having difficulty carrying her bags. Without thinking twice, Carla offered to help her. Lena smiled gratefully and accepted the help. During the ride, the two women chatted, and Lena said she lived alone, with few relatives left. Carla, on the other hand, mentioned her difficulties without going into detail. When they arrived at Lena's house, the old lady insisted that Carla accept a coffee as a thank you. Sitting at the kitchen table, Lena told a story about a distant relative of hers who had traveled the world, leaving behind some precious stones. Carla listened fascinated, forgetting her problems for a moment. Lena had a welcoming home, full of memories and family photos. Carla immediately felt at ease, as if she had entered a safe haven. The old woman said to her, "Life is unpredictable, dear, but sometimes just when you think you're at the end of your journey, something wonderful happens." Before leaving, Lena took a small box from the drawer and handed it to Carla. "This is for you, dear, a small gesture to thank you for your kindness." Carla, confused, opened the box and found a bright green stone. Lena explained that it was a stone with a legendary history, capable of bringing good luck to those who owned it. Carla thanked her, not knowing what to think. That night, with the stone on her bedside table, Carla dreamed of a man who told her to have faith and not give up. When she woke up, she felt strangely reassured and decided to take the stone with her to work, hoping that it could really help her. Days later, while working at the supermarket, she noticed a well-dressed man anxiously moving through the aisles. After a few minutes, the man approached Carla at the checkout counter and excitedly asked her if she was the woman who had received a bright green stone from an elderly lady named Lena. Carla, surprised and a little confused, told her the story of the stone and Lena. The man, visibly relieved, explained that he was Lena's grandson, looking for the family stone. He told her how the stone was an heirloom of great sentimental value to their family and offered to reward Carla generously if she agreed to return it. At this point, we would like to know, what would you have done in Carla's place? Would you have returned the stone even if you knew how valuable it was? Write us below in the comments. We can't wait to read you. Carla, even though she knew the value of the stone, felt that the right thing to do was to return it. She accepted the offer, but refused the reward. Shortly afterward, she received an unexpected call from the real estate agency. The eviction order had been canceled. Carla couldn't believe her ears. She decided to go visit Lena to tell her what had happened, but when she arrived at the house, she found only a sign that said, "For sale." The neighbor told her that Lena had suddenly left for a trip. At first, Carla was disappointed, but then she remembered Lena's words about luck and trust. She realized that perhaps that meeting and that stone had been a sign to never lose hope. Life continued to smile on her. She received a promotion at work, and her children were happier and happier. One day, while she was at the market, she saw the elegant man again. This time he was in the company of a woman whom Carla immediately recognized. It was Lena. Lena, with a smile, explained that the gift of the stone was a family tradition. Whoever received the stone and showed kindness and honesty would receive an unexpected blessing. Lena's nephew, a wealthy businessman, had decided to help Carla. He offered her a better job in his company and a house for her family. Carla couldn't believe her luck. It all seemed too good to be true. Remembering the dream of the man who spoke to her about trust, Carla realized that sometimes help comes from the most unexpected sources. Her faith and kindness had opened doors she didn't even know existed. If you've made it this far, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and if you like this story, activate the notification bell. You'll be notified every time we publish incredible stories like this one. Carla never forgot the lesson she learned. Kindness and faith can truly change the course of our lives. Every time she looked at that little empty box, she remembered the incredible series of events that had transformed her life. From that day on, she decided to always be open to help and trust, knowing that even in the darkest moments, light can come from the most unexpected sources. If this story touched your heart, share it with your loved ones. It could be just what they need to find hope. Thanks for following along, and see you next amazing story.